Alright everybody, so I was gonna make a man video. Just received this Aluminess roof rack. I just learned that there's no YouTube video on how to mount those racks or how to mount that rack on a roof of a Transit. Let's reconcile real quick. Very important, preparation of the car and the feet that rack is living on. Mounting the rack onto its feet on top of the Transit, impossible without backhoe of some sort. Putting this ladder on, not easy. Description, not very useful. Watch this video. Make an unboxing video. Unfortunately, I halfway unboxed it already when my idea struck me. This thing is humongous. It's not that heavy. I can actually lift it fairly easy. Unboxing this thing, it comes with a lot of screws here. I had to actually unscrew this whole thing here. Nuts and bolts for mounts. The feet here it stands on. The ladder back here, so I can't wait to see how that's gonna look like. Here I cut the holes out. You see these little holes here? That's the knob. You're gonna kind of use a little blade. I used a little blade and cut it out. There's a nut in there and there's screws. These screws that are going on it. Or I guess we have ourselves a little how to put a Aluminess rack on a Ford Transit kind of video. Unexpected, but if there is none out there, and I sure couldn't find one. So yeah, let's do it. Alright, so next step is we got the hole freed up and we have this little, sweating bullets by the way already. So we have this rubber piece here. Alright, I'm in full construction mode and we got a couple of those feet on already. Put a little silicone on the screw here. And then it's pretty simple. I've aligned the rubber mat here with the hole, so that's pretty common sense. So we do that a couple of times, and then we move on. And hopefully that rack is going to go on here in a couple of minutes. All right, so we're at step number 2, guys. It took me about probably 2 hours to figure out, but they're all mounted and siliconed up. And now the next step is to get that monster here, this one here, onto the roof. Thanks to my good friend Mr. Tim here, Mr. Tree Man Services. He's got backhoes and tree trucks and all sorts of good stuff here. He'll lift that up here with a backhoe. Heavy duty equipment. So it's on, of course we have to align it, everything, but it looks already pretty good. And now it is actually so light and those things slide on each other actually pretty easy. So now we are going to manually adjust it and then tie it down. Super quick, this thing went on. So the feet was the hardest part, I would say. And my body here yanking my thing out of position now. It just had it all lined up.
No, not for me.
Well, it was lined up over here, but to the T it was lined up. All right, well, we're gonna have a discussion about that. Let's keep working here, okay. Looking good. I'm gonna do the ladder here real quick. Should be simple except for the bottom. I think there's some drilling involved, but here that's easy. Just a clamp here that's gonna grab on. So I'm gonna do that real quick. But I'm glad we're making this video because now we're at the ladder part. And I tried to figure out how to put that ladder on by looking for a video and I couldn't find one. So now we're gonna make our own video and showing how this is actually doesn't fit. This ladder should go on the top part, and here Mr. Tim help me out real quick. It should clearly go on the top part here. That's what it says, but when you put it here it actually lands on the curvature of the door onto that little lip there, which is kind of just enough to put a screw through I'm gonna have to place a phone call with my friends over at Aluminess and ask them where or what am I getting wrong. Ladder is too short by probably about 4 inches, or Tim and I are just not getting it. We're not getting it. Just don't. All right, boys and girls, this is 1 day later and one call with Aluminess. Turns out, not like on the picture, this ladder goes on the lower bar, so check, the pictures is not always accurate on the description. With this Transit model, it goes on the lower bar and underneath, and I will show you that real quick too, how this thing lands in nowhere's land. Also, the pictures are not really good there with our friends over at Aluminess. Those pictures definitely need improvement, and we should show them. And then this counterplate here, this little counterplate is gonna go on in the back, serving as an extension of that pinch valve, and clamping this thing on. So that's where double check and triple check, because the pictures are definitely not useless. The pictures are useless in that description. I'm sorry to say to you guys, but the pictures did not help at all. The ladder is landing just flush below the car, but this extra plate again is gonna hold this in like that. Interesting technique. On that note, Tim and I are probably a very few people that put that rack on. We are the very few people that put that rack on ourselves. And 99% of the time mounted by professional, either by the manufacturer themselves or some professional van upfitters. And we are definitely not van upfitters.
Yes, we are.
Actually, now we are van upfitters. Yes, we are. So you have a question here on Maui. All right, and so what Tim is just doing here, he clamps on that separate plate onto the pinch valve, so we can drill through both, and then this is so here we have it, screws in. Right, we have it, the ladder is landing now on the extra bracket. So, alright, so here you have the finished product. Plate. It's a little dark here, I know. One plate, second plate, screws. Holding in pretty good. We tested it out. Alright guys, I'm super stoked on my roof rack. It's been driving around for a couple of days already. It mounted pretty well. It looks good. It holds sturdy. I'm super stoked on it. There are a few things that I want to show you guys that I did to this rack that I would recommend for you guys to do as well, particularly if you live in a marine environment. Number one, all those bolts and screws, as you can see here, I painted them all black with an anti-corrosion paint. That is super important in my opinion, because that prevents those screws from rusting, plus also they can't really loosen up. And secondly, I'm not have those screws. That screw here is very important. That's a screw that actually holds the whole thing down into the van. Now, in a lot of cases, the washer did not align up with the hole, and the washer was just about a little larger than the hole, so it did not cover the hole in its entirety. So if you have water going down, you have water sitting right there, the screw goes into the car, into the nut in the van. I don't think you want to have water down there, particularly not with a marine environment with a salty air. So what I did, I siliconed that all out pretty good to make sure this thing is 100% watertight. I also put silicone around the feet, but a rubber bushing is between the feet and the car. In my opinion, extremely important, because you don't want to have any water going in between those contact points. Alright, and if you want to know how the interior of this van came about, I'll save that for part 2. We're almost at 10 minutes with this video. I think that's enough for now. Check the second video. I put a link right here so you can check that out as well. How I made for myself my perfect little surf camp van with shower drawers, compartments, and so on. So that's going to be part number 2.